Welcome into the PFF NFL Daily. Today discussing Tom Brady. Is he a Hall of Famer, Sam?
Probably.
Embrace debate. Embrace debate. All right, Tom Brady's retired. Let's have the final send-off for the GOAT here. Tom Brady has officially made it official on a Tuesday. He's done. He's moving on after 22 seasons in the NFL. And he said a lot of thank yous. And there are I know two people that are hurt. Are two groups of people that did not get a thank you. The first one, New England Patriots fans, did not get the official thank you. And then Sam Monson, you did not get a thank you for turning Tom Brady's career around in the 2014 offseason. I can't believe he forgot about you in his farewell address.
I know. I gave him the motivation to have a third Hall of Fame career at the end of everything. So yeah, I feel left out in his thank yous. It's crazy. Like, first of all, by the way, Adam Schefter vindicated. Like, the man was being dragged over the coals for announcing this retirement that Tom Brady then rushed out and told everybody, I have not made a decision in a way. I
disagree. He's not vindicated.
Of course he's vindicated.
He's not vindicated.
He said he was retiring. He's retiring.
Yeah, but that's the same thing to Andrew Luck. Doesn't mean, who cares? That's the breaking news business is ridiculous. It's stupid.
That's his job. He reported that Brady was retiring. Brady is retiring. You got it right.
No, let everybody just announce their retirement the way they want to announce their retirement.
Like, it's literally the man's job. Somebody leaked the information to him. He gave the information to the public. That's what he does. He has been vindicated.
That's not vindicated.
If you want to crap on anybody in this scenario, crap on the guy who was in the meeting where Tom Brady said, hey guys, I'm going to call it quits. Can we get some social media posts and some graphics ready?
Shefty could have used.
Some guy left that meeting and just texted Schefter and was like, hey, look what I've got. Brady's out. That's the guy. That's the guy that deserves to get crapped on, not Adam Schefter. Anyway, the Tom Brady thing is just craziness. And honestly, I'm a little bit bummed that he's walking away still at the top. 44 years old, arguably was the best quarterback in the NFL last season, right? I know Aaron Rodgers is likely going to win at the MVP. We disagree with that assessment, right? We would give it to Tom Brady. You wrote an article on PFF.com about why Tom Brady, not Aaron Rodgers, is the MVP. He was the most valuable quarterback in the NFL this year. So whether or not, the point is, at 44 years old, he was as good as it gets in the NFL, and he's walking away at the top. I think he owes it to science to keep going and see how long he can push this thing on for. Let's see if he can roll out there at 50 and still play at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro kind of level. He's 44 and is still as good as any quarterback in the NFL. Peyton Manning, who was his closest peer for the majority of their careers, was ready for a retirement convalescent home at the age of 30, 39. That's 5 years ago. It's madness that Brady is still playing at this level.
That's there's a lot of superlatives and stats and numbers and grades and all that stuff that does sum up Brady. He was our number one graded player during the PFF era back to 2006, most valuable player back to 2006, number one in PFF WAR 6 different times. But what you just described, there was a point where there was a pretty healthy Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady debate. They were arch rivals. They went back and forth for years. It wasn't a short rivalry. I mean, it was literally 2001 they first played each other, all the way through 2015 where Peyton got the last laugh in the AFC Championship. And then since that point, and in the year that Peyton Manning went into the Hall of Fame, Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. And he won 3 Super Bowls after Peyton Manning retired. And then, as you mentioned, went out on top as far as PFF grading goes and as far as actual on-field performance goes. But there's a lot of, that type of stuff that I think when you sum up Tom Brady's career and you get that perspective, it is just crazy.
Peyton Manning had an 18-year NFL career. And, the first couple were before Brady arrived. But for the majority of that, they were simultaneous kind of peers, rivals. And he finished, went off to the Hall of Fame. Brady was still playing as well as anything. It's crazy that he was playing at that level. Since turning 40, right? 44 years old. So since turning 40, Brady had the best PFF grade in the NFL, higher than Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, now Joe Burrow. Those are the guys that are coming up behind him for the top PFF passing grade since Brady turned 40 years of age. He also had the most attempts in the NFL, the most completions, He had 27,000 passing yards, this including the playoffs, 191 touchdowns to just 59 interceptions. Like his numbers just since turning 40 are absolutely out of this world. And obviously he has an entire 20-year career before that.
We'll get into some more of the numbers, but the moment we've been waiting for since September, it's finally here. In honor of the big game, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in New York, meaning you can bet from almost a third of the country. If Sportsbook isn't yet available in your state, play DraftKings daily fantasy football contest for Super Bowl 56. New customers can get a free shot at $1 million top prize with their first deposit. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code PFF, get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. It's promo code PFF at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. Got to be 21 or older. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for a full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in Tennessee. Call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK, HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Nailed it.
Not Hopney.
It's not Hopney. If you guys have been paying close attention to me over the last couple of days, I had a very clear tweet that may have confused like 2 or 3 people when I said Tom Brady, when you use PFF WAR, he's been the most valuable player since. So starting now, working backwards, in 2021, he was the most valuable player. Since 2020, over the last 2 years, the most valuable player. Since 2019, 18. So in this era where Patrick Mahomes has been incredible, Tom Brady's been the most valuable player in the Patrick Mahomes era. He's been the most valuable player no matter which season you go back to, all the way back to 2006 when we started doing this. So it is tough. As much as we quantify everything, Sam, I think we've done a pretty good job of capturing Brady's career. But even in the unquantifiable stuff, I think that also is what has separated him, all the nuance and the detail and whatever he does to bring the winnerdom and all that stuff that he brings with him. Clearly, it's a thing based off what he did in Tampa Bay.
I think what's also incredible about his career is that he almost got better throughout the course of it. Like early Brady, those first few years, like he wasn't that good. I mean, he was an incredible kind of clutch player and showed up big at the right time and had that Joe Burrow, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, type of cool under pressure, calm in the critical situations, had the clutch gene, right? So those were the things that were winning him those games, that when they got in those tight games and in the Super Bowl with a drive left, Brady was able to get it done. But when you were comparing him to Peyton Manning at that kind of time, those years, like Manning was streets ahead for those first few years. And Brady, I remember early PFF years being like dragged on to New England radio stations, justifying why Brady's PFF grade like wasn't as good as some of these other quarterbacks. And it's because like he wasn't as good as some of these other quarterbacks for most of the time. It was then, when the game was on the line, that's when Brady would switch on and start making all these great plays and win all these games. Then you get, that period where the 2007 team arrives, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, suddenly there's an offensive explosion and Brady starts to take his game to a new level now that he's got these better weapons and the game is changing and all this kind of stuff. And then, people like me write him off, right? Brady's declining. Brady's on the way out. And then you get this stretch at the end of his career, which is arguably better than anything he'd done at any point before that. And he just torches the league after turning 40. And maybe now he's not like, there's no room to keep going up, but for almost 20 years, Brady, like, I think consistently developed and was a better quarterback at the end of his career than he was at the start of it, which is not usually something that happens for players.
Yeah. In that time when look, you weren't completely wrong. He did have a dip in play in 2013. He made he actually said it. He's like, look, I got to start extending plays a little bit. I got to do a better job throwing the ball down the field. He actually was able to take a couple weaknesses of his game and get those better. That was a big part of his development in, say, the middle Hall of Fame part of his career or whatever it was that he had. The other part, too, that I'll say that maybe maybe numbers. Like, we're not supposed to talk about QB wins here, right? We're not supposed to. But no matter which way you slice the situation, when Tom Brady had a good defense or a bad defense, when they had a fourth quarter comeback opportunity, when Tom Brady had to throw the ball 40 times a game, 50 times a game, when most other quarterbacks have their records just in the tank, he was always winning. He was always finding a way to win. So whatever that was that he had, that's the thing that I think is really tough to replicate. And I know we live in a world where you just, the last thing you saw is the most important thing, and it's easy to go and pick apart anybody and find flaws. But we just saw it from Patrick Mahomes last week. Nobody's perfect. And Brady has a lot of bad games throughout his career. But he could still be the best ever because no one bounced back like him, even within games where he wasn't at his best. I think all of that stuff added up. No matter what you put him in, environment-wise, schematically, whatever it was, he still found a way pretty much to win. And I think, man, going to Tampa Bay, he still would have been the GOAT and all that stuff. But going to Tampa Bay without Belichick for 1 year and winning it, just like the cherry on top of the incredible career.
Yeah, look, it sounds stupid because the guy had 6 Super Bowl rings already, but I do think that year, that ring in Tampa Bay and the 2 years he was there did a lot for his legacy. Like, that answered a lot of questions in terms of, not even questions, just that addressed a lot of criticism where there was always a group of people that would be like, oh, Brady's a system quarterback. You take him away from Bill Belichick. He's not the same guy. Well, you voluntarily left Bill Belichick, right? Said, to hell with this. I don't have a good offensive line anymore. I'm not seeing what I want. I'm going somewhere else. I'm moving to Florida, like the rest of the old people, right? We're taking the retirement home down to Florida, and then just immediately takes what was an average team in Tampa Bay, goes to the Super Bowl, spends a year figuring it out, wins the ring, and tried to repeat, couldn't get it done. But the fact that he was able to immediately take what was otherwise a mediocre side and win a championship without all those other things that people were saying were propping him up, I think is a real thing to sort of cement that legacy and dismiss a vocal minority of critics.
We did our best, only about 12 minutes plus, but it's tough to sum up the 22-year career of the GOAT. He's retiring. Pour one out for Tom Brady. It's the PFF NFL Daily.